Talk with Kevin Hastings, Tom Cinefani, Terry Reinhardt, and today's special guest, Zach Mayhew, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. I mean, y'all make jokes
Oh,
about
I ain't got my I'm sorry.
names, but
And you just missed,
Yeah, it's been here in a while. I forgot to put my headphones on.
some of the best and dumbest introduction ever. He said, Zach Mayhew, if I can remember correctly. No, he said, if I remember correctly. You didn't hear that part.
He did forget who I was one day when I was checking out with him. So, so at least we've improved on that, JP. Thank you for the intro.
He don't have a big circle. And
that is very true, actually.
You should try recognizing the people in your circle.
Nice to come back in and sit in for Chip this week. So we've been down at the Masters.
Yeah, when he returns, we're going to let him give his. There's a lot of different details that I have, questions that I have that we'll waste a lot of time next week talking about on his experiences and how all that went down there. So we're going to obviously get to that.
Is he going to return?
I guess. I don't know. Maybe he'll let me know next Thursday. He might be in
I mean, is there like a form for a leave of absence?
I wore my Kansas City Royal jersey in honor of Terry today.
That's right.
Mr. Bo Jackson jersey, and then I got my SummerSlam hat on for WrestleMania weekend this weekend. So
WrestleMania.
Somebody said that to me yesterday. He's talking about this weekend's WrestleMania. About WrestleMania. Is that who's the headliners there?
Unfortunately, it's Cody Rhodes and John Cena. He's on his retirement tour.
Which part's the unfortunate part?
Both. They're both terrible.
Oh, you like
hope
Cody's dad?
Hope they don't let John Cena break Ric Flair's record.
Grandfather, right?
Yeah. So, but they don't have a whole lot going on right now. I'll just keep up with it on the internet.
All right.
They
JP,
couldn't fill up the stadium.
Are you watching it tomorrow night?
Watching what?
You got the pay-per-view?
No.
No. Have you ever watched a single wrestling match in your life?
Surprisingly enough, yeah, I actually have watched one.
One? Did you really mean like just one? Like is in person or is in like on TV or what?
YouTube. You
watched one match on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I am so curious about this. Do you remember anything about who's wrestling? Anything?
Oh yeah. If I remember correctly, Stephen Amell, who played the Green Arrow on the CW, was in attendance at the audience, and the wrestlers started heckling him, and eventually he came back and actually beat the snot out of him in a match and won.
The Monday Night Raw, he jumped over the barricade. Go ahead, JP. You know who the
real wrestling thing.
Stephen Amell is the actor who played Green Arrow on the CW show Arrow.
Yeah,
he was there as a personal guest of one of the people who's over it. And he came, they hackled him, and then him and one other wrestler teamed up and came back and beat the snot out of the wrestlers that hackled him.
Yeah, it was a promo for the show, I think.
Okay. Did you get all that, Tom? You remember that event in wrestling history?
The memory's a little hazy.
Of course it would be.
I can't even say the guy he just got through saying a couple times.
Still don't know. Tell you know who the Green Arrow is.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
There you go. See? So he at least he remembers who he saw.
All right, Terry, this weekend in Bristol, a lot of laps led by one person.
I told you I don't like that stuff like that.
What we're going to do about that? There's a lot of fussing and arguing and everything about on the internet right now about what to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What was the week before that? It was somebody else who led a bunch of laps.
Correct.
I mean,
now
nobody likes watching that, y'all. I'm sorry. I mean, NASCAR has to do something. I don't know what it is. That's the hard
tires
thing.
if he leaves.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the world to tell him to do because it does
some glass
happen.
out there so he blows the tire.
He led 411 of the 500 laps. So a lot of arguments and discussions exactly what you can do, Terry. All the drivers, of course, and everybody are screaming more horsepower. So that's the biggest and first thing, and then you got to figure out the tire situation from there. But it is an issue. So sitting in Darlington, you're right. The first 400 laps were boring, or whatever it was. The first 200 laps was the same guy. You don't mind someone leading if there's any competitiveness anyone near him, or but when they get out in 10, they're 10.
We're talking about Bristol,
right? And you're 10 NASCAR links out ahead of people.
And then Darlington, we had one of the drivers leading a ton of laps in it, but he ends up finishing second.
Well, that was the one I was talking about that I was at, just sitting there watching that one, and you're just like, I don't know if this is. And you know, at the end, they're going to do something and bunch them up, and they're going to figure it out.
That's the reason when people ask me about NASCAR, I go with Talladega, I go with Daytona, I go with Atlanta, because it can be anybody out front. And I know you have to pile them all up for that to happen. But I'm sorry, that's the only way racing should be. Everybody should have a chance of winning the race. Not when you go to short tracks and I could name you 6 drivers and I'll let you have the rest of the field. You know, I mean.
Same thing happens a lot of times at the mile and a halves.
Yeah, it does sometimes. It sure does.
Yep.
I mean, nobody likes watching that. I mean, remember Martin Truex one time down here in the Coca-Cola 600?
Yep.
Led almost every lap, maybe about 5 or 6. Maybe he didn't lead. Nobody likes going watching that.
Well,
unless you're pulling for that driver's out front.
Well, here's I got a couple sound bites here and there. I'm just trying to find one about the race here in Bristol. Let's see, and find a good one. But where's my Dale? And Dale this week, Junior this week tested, with old Cletus McFarland, Terry had Talladega, tested the old Dale.
He probably got beat.
No, he didn't. They didn't race.
Well, it's a wonder.
Silly.
I'm a Dale Jr. fan, but my goodness.
So I'm gonna try to find the sound clip of it with Cletus, but they were testing Cletus bought one of the old NASCAR trucks that was the black 3, so that's why they were they're doing a little thing here. So let's see. I'm trying to find his comments on it. I can pull the pictures up at least for you. If you are listening to the show, this is Saturday Sports Talk. We do talk baseball, basketball, football, golf, NASCAR. Did I miss one? Baseball, basketball, a little NCAA, a little bit of everything. The show's also live on YouTube every Saturday as well, if I hit the buttons right. And so you guys can tune in every Saturday on YouTube. Watch the replays as well during the week. I do chop it up in different segments. You can go back and watch. So if you're looking for basketball or football or your NASCAR segment or NFL, whatever you're looking for, you can go back and pick up the spot you're looking for. So here they are out there testing it, Terry. So Junior was talking about taking off in that thing, and it was like a jump scare. It had it's the most horsepower he said he's been in a car. It's the fastest he's been to 0 to like 140, whatever it was, in any car he's ever been in. And then he was talking about I don't know if you saw this week, Tony Stewart winning a drag race at 300 and something miles per hour. And how he's like, that's got to be the most incredible. He's like, I was scared at 140 pulling off. Here's a little bit of it. Let's see.
Tony Stewart's not in jail?
Well, I got a little sound, but Zach, hit the sound. Let's see. This is Dale Jr. driving the 8. We're going to do a burnout in Talladega. Or not the 8. Truck.
Oh, he's fired up. He just took off. Oh, my goodness, brother. See, we're doing it for Dale. Literally.
Terry, you ever drove a drag car?
No.
He's a natural. He's a natural. Oh my God!
That was go Cletus there. But yeah, fun little thing there of the guys. They're going to put they're talking about, they're putting Dale was on Twitter yesterday talking about they're going to put the content out here in a couple of days so everybody can get and see everything about it. But he was just talking about how crazy it is. You know, being scared at 140, 150 the way it took off, and just thinking about how the drag racers have to feel getting to 300 miles per hour. I've never been to a drag race. Either any of y'all been to one?
Nope.
Yeah, I went to last year down to Concord.
Oh yeah,
it's fun to go watch a few things like that. Tony Stewart was down there for that, but then he got in trouble in one of the races. I think he got disqualified, and he had to leave. So I think he was doing some cheating.
Oh, well.
I'll tell you what.
The only weird thing is it's got so much of that the whatever the gas is they use on it, it just burns
Smell
your
it.
eyes the
Yeah.
whole
Oh,
time.
God, okay.
Especially if you're on like if you're at a football game, you're on like the 40-yard line on, right side, it'll burn your eyes up.
All right, Terry, we'll see what. Here's Tony this week talking a little bit about some stuff. Zach, hit that button.
A little more frequent now. If I could go back, what would I change? And there's two big things. I mean, there was a race in New York that I wouldn't have went to because I wouldn't have I don't ever want to have to go through what I went through, what another family went through. And I still get blamed for it all the time, daily, by people that have no clue what the hell they're talking about. And I still get blamed for something that was not my fault. So I would not have went to that event. That's one of the two things that I would have changed in that. The other thing that I would have changed is definitely during my NASCAR career, and the majority of it, I would have loved to go back and treated people better. I was so intense with racing. I was so on edge all the time. There were a lot of things I didn't like about NASCAR. There were a lot of things I didn't like how they did things. I didn't like how a lot of it was done. But while I was there, I mean, all I cared about was winning races and what we had to do. And I was not a good person to people. I just wasn't. I mean, we had a lot of fans and I was good to a lot of people, but there were a lot of people I wasn't good to also. And that is the single biggest thing that if I could go back in time, that is the one thing that I would definitely change.
All right, Terry, we'll start with that. Everybody knows Tony was not the friendliest guy, obviously. But the first part of the situation where what he's talking about is the race where he killed a guy. And however you want to put it, people don't know what they're talking about. He was driving a car, he hit a guy on the track, and the guy died. However you want to look at it. But him talking about that, Terry, he didn't seem like he didn't put any fault on himself at all about any of that situation. He acknowledged it happened. He just said he just wish he didn't go there. Nothing about his actions or anything that did he say about that day. And the first thing he said, I wish I didn't have to go through that. Then he caught himself and said, oh, they're family too. So I'll let you know more about it than I guess the other two. I guess maybe Zach a little bit too. But I'll let you comment, Terry, a little bit on Tony and his reflections, I guess.
Until you are able to sit back and claim that you did this and be able to tell yourself, I wish it had never happened. I was part of it. And I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, guys, I don't know how they answer that. You have got to be able to find closure in yourself that this happened and you were part of it. And when all of it happened, they are people going to question him all the time.
Yeah, he's getting that.
Whether he did it or not, people are going to question him.
And you can see the clip. I remember I watched what happened. Didn't he have a confrontation with a guy first? Something happened on the track.
Yeah.
So like you're gonna sit here and tell me a guy that you had a confrontation with, and then you basically tried to strafe him and scare him and accidentally killed him, and never had any consequences, right? Never went to jail. Did the family sue him, Kevin, and get anything?
I'm not sure if they,
that's
or the
one
track
thing.
or exactly what happened.
It's
with
just amazing. It's just amazing how no consequences. And then you get up there and say something like, well, people don't know what they're talking about. No, people saw what happened. People know what type of person you are. And I'm glad that you recognize what a horrible person you were, because you were a horrible person. But the way I would have framed it is, I cannot express how deeply sorry I am to the family.
He needs a publish for somebody to tell him how to answer that question.
Right.
Like this is, and no matter what you get asked this question, this is how you answer this.
I just wish I hadn't have gone, so I wouldn't have to deal with this, so I can keep being a jerk. I mean, that's all. That's
but
he
had trouble even at stuff that was away from the track.
Oh yeah.
When he would go and wouldn't sign kids' jerseys, saying, "Oh, I don't do that today. That's not part of me." And make the kid go away, and the parents sitting there like, what? This kid's wearing your whole jersey and you won't sign it.
It's the celebrity no consequences culture. That's all it is. I'm a celebrity, therefore there are no consequences for me. I can do whatever I want, and it's okay. And you could tell that in his voice. You could tell he's not sorry about that.
He's not
guy
remorseful.
dying. He's not sorry one bit. All he's sorry is people came after him for it.
Yeah.
He has no sympathy for that family or that person that he killed, and he should have went to jail. I'm not saying it was murder, but it was definitely
Negligence.
voluntary manslaughter. Definitely, I would say, because you ought to know that your intent there, your actions are going to result in somebody else's death. So I just, I just know that, we live in a society where celebrities aren't punished, and that's fine. They get to do
I
what
can't
they
believe
want.
he
but
hadn't talked to a publicist on how to answer that
well,
correctly.
why
Because he
even-
didn't answer
yeah.
that correctly at all.
I am
However,
deeply-
whatever he's guilty or not guilty of.
Did he
he
even
didn't-
mention the guy's?
No, he
Did he
not.
mention the guy's name?
No, he didn't.
Did he mention the guy's name
No.
or the name of the family?
So speaking of about other weird things in NASCAR this week, I don't know if you saw the Chandler Smith thing. Did you see this? His wife filed for divorce because he plays too much video games when he's watching his kids and doesn't pay attention to them. That was one of the reasons listed in the thing. Brian Vickers tops it though, divorcing his ex-wife. She was Jeffrey Epstein's secretary. Did anybody know that one?
Interesting job.
So both of those come out this week. So Vickers is all over the headlines, and then this is Kyle Larson. So without all that mess, so NASCAR's there's 4 bad headlines for us. We'll go to how about Larson talking about running in the Xfinity Series. Tom, this is I guess what Terry will fill it for Kyle Busch. I guess we'll see what Terry thinks about it or not.
Want to embarrass them, honestly. I want to embarrass NASCAR a little bit because they just don't let Cup guys run anymore. And the kids, they probably think they're in a good spot and they don't know where the bar is really at. So I like to go run those Xfinity races and just get 10-second leads to let them realize that they've got a lot of room to improve. And I think that's only better for our sport. When those young guys can compete with Cup guys, they're better suited for the Cup Series once they get there. Yes, I want to smash the field when I run Xfinity.
I love that.
That's motivating for me for sure.
Okay, you can give or take with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're a Larson fan, you can say, or you're a NASCAR fan, you can say, you know what, he's telling the truth. Because when Kyle Busch was out there, Kyle Busch never really come out and said those words, but he wanted to be better than everybody out there and have a lot of wins. And when you go racing that, you don't want those guys beating you because that's what they're going to bring back to the table when you ask them.
Well, perfect example would be the dream team when was it Jamal Mashburn and Rodney Rogers and all those guys, and Bird walks by and they say something really snarky to Bird, and then he goes and he just destroys them. You know, he's not going to get embarrassed by those guys.
No.
So the NASCAR guys going back and playing the college guys, so to speak, they're not going to get embarrassed by doing that. Jordan wouldn't go out there and not want to embarrass them. He'd want to destroy every single one of them.
Yeah, he would.
So I think it's fair.
Do you think they should be out there? Though is the question. That's the biggest argument. Should the Cup guys or should?
How do you award points? I think you should
That's what I'm
award
saying.
points
You're you're taking
how
points
you
away
finished.
from.
You know what I'm saying? I think if you're like Larson's out there and he wins the race, then whoever was second should get the most points. I mean, there needs to be something. I know he didn't win the race, but he's your first Xfinity driver.
I guess it's kind of like the minor league baseball when the big guys come down for assignment, your stats still count against them. You know what I mean? Like you're a minor league guy now. I'm batting against Randy Johnson here on the side.
Well, that's true. Or Juan Soto coming up.
Right.
I want to strike him out, and he's wanting to tattoo me.
But all right, should there be some type of rule? I get some of the new guys that if you've won in Cup or definitely if you won a championship, should there be some type of rule? Hey guys, you can't be Xfinity run those anymore. Or something I don't mind the guys like that don't really win in Cup running down maybe an Xfinity some, but the ones that are winning in Cup, like why is Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson need to go down there and run? Why I'd rather see the guys like the Eric Joneses or the Bubba Wallaces. I guess maybe that some that don't maybe win in Cup is my question on that. So I don't really care that much. I don't have that much to worry about it. But all right, we come back. We're going to talk a little Masters NBA playoff start this week, NFL, Major League Baseball, and more. KTCBroadcasting.com.